For Stadio, a qualification isn't just a qualification. It's more students inspired to reimagine their possibilities. With 5 faculties, 10 campuses and over 50 accredited qualifications, undergraduate and postgraduate studies, contact, distance and blended learning, we're transforming higher education into something that's truly multi-faculty, multi-campus and multi-mode. Stadio, a new vision in higher education.
But welcome. We're discussing what happened in South African rugby the week that's passed. The biggest and most exciting news in a long time in South African rugby is the appointment of Bafana as the new head coach of the under-20 international Springbok side in South Africa. I cannot imagine any more a deserved person that can take. Sean Roux has been there for I don't know how many years, but Bafana is the next option, and he got the post purely because he deserves it. You worked with Bafana.
Yeah, Carl, and that's not being biased. It's merely a question of I know the coach very well. When I started at the Lions and I coached with and under him from the onset and worked with him and saw him in action as he progressed and started coaching senior teams as well at the Lions. He has really been one of the coaches in South Africa that has earned his stripes at all levels. And he's been successful at all levels. The question always remains, can he handle the full package? No doubt about that. He's been a defense coach, he's been an attack coach, he's been a backline coach, he's been head coach. He's never ruffled and in a bad mental space. So honestly, I believe one of the top young coaches, together with someone like Joey Mongalo, that I see coming through in South Africa, and hopefully, and which is good. I think it was a huge loss for the Lions the day that Bafana left. Likewise with Joey. Bafana went and became involved with the SA Juniors, SA Under-20s as assistant coach, which was probably his next level of coaching. I know that he would have loved to stay on and coach seniors, because he believed that that would have been a good opportunity for him as well. But saying that, he took the opportunity, he's getting recognition, and I'm also very excited for him, firstly, and also for a lot of players and the South African junior rugby system at this stage, and at the cost of other coaches. I know that, but he's someone that really deserved this opportunity, and he will contribute.
There was a lot of talk about his age, and me and you discussed it just now. Wessel at the Bulls, that's in charge of their junior rugby, is 35, I think, 36. Bafana is the same age. Joey, also young. Scott Matthew, young. The Lions, the whole Lions squad, Sean Erasmus and Cash, young coaches coming through. So it's got nothing to do with the age. It's got nothing to do because he's black. he deserves the appointment. We accept the fact that SARU will fast-track good black coaches. But I prefer fast-tracking a coach like Bafana to a coach that doesn't deserve it. And we've had a few of them that was appointed as Springbok coaches and everything just because the colour of the skin. At this stage, South African rugby is very lucky to count black coaches like Joey, Bafana, Mpiwe at the Sharks, and all those. We've got quality black coaches that deserve appointments in South Africa. Just my opinion. And then the preparation matches has been announced from the 27th of February to the 27th of March. The 7 unions plus Eastern Province will now compete in 2 sections. Your feeling?
Yeah, excited merely for the fact that players are going to get an opportunity to get back onto the field, just for the industry as a whole. It's very exciting news. Happy that we've already heard about the Varsity Cup that's going to continue in the bubble format. Now with this, it's amazing news. I just think it's just hope to think that it's going to continue in the planned phase as it is, so that we can therefore also see some planning being done to accommodate our juniors that also now needs to get exposure. And I'm talking about your 18, 19 and 20-year-olds as well, because not a lot of them will be seen in the current announced phases, although we are very glad that we're at least going there.
My only problem still is that we don't know if the Rainbow Cup is going to happen. That's supposed to start in end of April or in April. We're 2 months from that. We still don't know. I think somewhere SARU must just, and the guys and everybody involved in senior rugby must sit down and make a decision. You can't carry on like that. I mean, I don't know what Jimmy and Scott Matthew and Peter de Villiers is planning after the end of March. I'm not sure they know when the competitions will take place and that kind of stuff. It's difficult for me to understand that the UK, Europe, New Zealand, Australia, everybody knows what's going to happen with rugby until the end of the year. It seems like it's only South Africa and the British Lions tour that we're not certain what's going to happen. Make your decisions and get done with it. My personal opinion. I've got a lot of personal opinions this week. And then Kolisi has now been confirmed. He's released by the Sharks, by the Western Province. The Sharks said they won't pay transfer fees. Western Province in the media statement said they received a transfer fee. Your feeling?
Yeah, it was bound to happen. We all know, if I say we all or everyone that was aware of his links with the whole Mozati, let's call it movement and business entity, has always been there. So we always knew there was going to be some link, not only with regards to him, but possibly also other players that's also involved there. So it was bound to happen. I think a masterstroke by the Sharks, maybe something that fell in their lap, but they definitely moved swiftly to get the deal done after Western Province totally botched it. And it's going to benefit Sharks rugby massively, I have no doubt. The move of Sia is a massive personality in world rugby, not only South African rugby. To see his contribution at the Sharks, we definitely know, with him being that kind of leader, that kind of influence as a personality, will be massive wherever he goes. My big question remains, there will most likely be a shake-up in the player core, because if Sia goes there, he will definitely be part of the player setup. So it's definitely going to close the door to not only a couple of juniors in the system, but one or two senior players that they currently have there. So there is most likely going to be some sort of a shake-up there. But I think the whole package deal, it remains to be seen how well it's going to be rolled out on the field. But out there in the boardrooms, in the business side of the world, and in the rugby industry, it's been a major coup for the Sharks.
Yeah, and Mazzotti said this weekend, success starts at winning. And I don't know if they will tolerate the bad form of Kolisi the way the Western Province did.
Yeah, that remains a tough question with regards to any strong leader and player. And it's not wrong to use Duane Vermeulen as the ultimate example of someone coming back, very experienced player, World Cup winner, massive leader at various franchises and teams across the world, walking into the Bulls setup and making the difference he did as a player and as a captain and a leader. So that to me is a criteria for someone making big moves, and that is definitely going to be part of CR's pressure when he goes to the Sharks, is to see if he can play the same kind of role.
Yeah, interesting, but yeah, let's wait and see. The last one is Zelt Maree. He got a hiding from Mr. Rasool this weekend regarding his interview he did with Rugby 365, where he went off against Mazzotti and the clubs and everything. On his way out?
Well, he's definitely under pressure, Carl. He's under massive pressure. If you are internally rebuked like he was, no doubt about it. And maybe, I'm just thinking maybe, there's been so many negative stories coming out of the Western Province camp over the last months. Maybe this is sort of if I was an ordinary supporter out there of the Western Province team, I would actually see this as a positive thing. I know a lot of people are very upset, but at least somewhere the structures are standing up to say, listen, we're not going to throw around accusations, make pointless and fruitless accusations and talk about people and stuff as if they are nothing, like's been happening over the last couple of months. And someone is trying to peg down some sort of discipline there. That to me is a kind of a positive move, but now remains to be seen. It's got to be followed through now, because there's been too many of this that's happened, that's totally discredited everything at Western Province Rugby. So yes, definitely he's under pressure as it stands, and it will be interesting to see if there's going to be further repercussions.
But firing Zelt is not the only person that needs to be dismissed there. The whole thing with Western Province's last 2-3 years, together now with the MVM situation and everything, that's a collective push from the clubs, from Danny Jones and everything. And we can call it racism and everything, because everything white was completely against what they wanted and everything. So it's Zelt Maree is not only the one to be blamed at the Western Province. It's got to be a complete clean out of all the sickness and everything before I personally can, look at the Western Province and see them moving on, because there's a lot of players going now.
Yeah, Carl, unfortunately, the people and let's call it the personalities, because a lot of them I don't believe are really there for the soul of Western Province Rugby. If they are not going to serve Western Province Rugby first and foremost, that institution has definitely taken a huge image knock. Not that that's the issue, they can always stand up again, but they are losing massive chunks of support out of the business community, out of the supporters community, and just total discreditation. The big question is, how is this going to influence them on the field? People might disagree with me, but what we have seen in the semi-final, to me, was just part of the symptoms that is going to show more and more going forward in a union with such amazing history. It's not supposed to happen. So this is really a case of saving Western Province rugby and making big decisions. And it's not, like you say, it's not only about one or two personalities, it is about getting the whole system sorted out.
And South African rugby needs a good Western Province team.
Agree.
Yeah, that's it. Thanks a lot.